Hey guys, welcome back. Week 2 fantasy football season. Hope you guys were successful last week. Mike, Dom, back here with the final whistle. We're here to drop our knowledge on you, give you a couple picks for this week, sit them, start them, and answer some fan questions. Remember guys, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're going to make sure we take care of you this year.
And also I just want to give Mike a little bit of a shout out for one of his picks last week, which I don't like to give compliments, just the type of person I am. Mike Wallace, he said to sit him. What did he do?
He did nothing.
Yeah.
Took a shit.
Yeah, he was not very good last week, so I like that pick a lot.
Alright, since we're in a giving mood, I got to say it was a good call on Schaub. I wasn't sold on it, but 3 touchdowns and over 300 yards. Got to give you credit on that one, buddy.
Yeah, he's not one of your stud starters. That's what I said. We're not talking about studs here. We all know to start our studs. This is for the type of guys that you don't know to start them or not. Let me start off with the running backs. All right, I'm going to say that you should start Darren McFadden. I'm actually playing against them, and I still think you need to start Darren McFadden. The Raiders are playing the Jaguars this week. I see McFadden having a big game. I'm not going to say huge like a, Adrian Peterson type game, but he's actually going to be very valuable, I think, this week as a running back too, or a flex. I'm actually playing against them. I'm not looking forward to it. He's going to be my start. My sit is Ahmad Bradshaw. I actually own him, so it's kind of ironic, that I'm playing against somebody and I own the other one. Keep sitting him. You're going to have to sit him until you slowly see them move him back into the lineup. Ballard, I can't believe he actually did as well as he did last week. It was well enough to keep Bradshaw slowly moving in. What do you think, Mike?
I think that's a pretty good call. Bradshaw is still a little banged up. He's working his way back. One big thing I can say, a lot of people are asking about David Wilson. Don't bail on him yet. The guy's still got to be the running back there in New York. They don't have anybody else. I know they signed Brandon Jacobs, but that's not going to be something that's going to affect him this weekend. Also, stop bailing on Marshawn Lynch. He's not done yet, guys. Just give him a couple weeks to get started. They'll start moving the ball. He'll start getting goal line carries.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything that you just said right there. I'm still a Marshawn Lynch believer. Even though I am a Bills fan and we pretty much cast him off, I still think he's going to be big this season. I'm actually trying to trade for him in my other league.
Good buy low target.
He's a definite good buy low target. Let's get into wide receivers really quick. I'm going to mention who I like. I like Miles Austin this week. I don't know if you noticed how energetic he was last week. Dez Bryant has an injury. It's an ankle injury. So expect Miles Austin to be moving around a lot more. He's going to actually score this weekend. Who I don't like, who Mike loved last week, was Golden Tate. I still think he's worthless. I don't like him at all. I'm going to stick Golden Tate probably for the rest of my life. So I won't even start Golden Tate ever.
I can't disagree. He had a bad game last week. Russell Wilson was throwing the ball all over the field. Doug Baldwin had a big game last week. But I do see him at some point this year working his way into the offense. Doug Baldwin had a big game. I get it. But when your coach Pete Carroll continues to say that he's having a good season, he's been working hard, he's becoming a football player instead of, just a guy, just an athlete. He's becoming a football player. I got to agree with the head coach, and eventually they're going to start giving him the ball.
I mean, that's great what he does at practice, but I've yet to see it in a game. Again, the only thing I remember of him is that catch that he cheated on in that game against the Packers.
Understandable. So, he still outscored Mike Wallace and James Jones last week.
You got that right with Mike Wallace again. Good call, dude.
All right, guys, I'm sure you guys have a ton of questions. We did get a few on Facebook. Make sure, you guys can comment below, but make sure that you comment on our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter. The address can be seen on the screen. We'll make sure that we do get back to you, answer your questions for next week. Make sure that you have the questions posted by Wednesday at noon Eastern time. So we'll get into the questions that we got this week. Got a question from Phil here. He says, should he play RG3 or Vic this weekend? Phil, I'd definitely go Vic. Chip Kelly said that his offense was pretty slow last week, and they're probably going to pick up the pace against the Chargers that gave up 3 touchdowns to Matt Schaub last week. So definitely go Vic. What do you think, Don?
I'm going to have to agree with you completely. I have Vic and I have Kaepernick in my league, and I'm actually going to sit Kaepernick for Vic this week. Kaepernick versus Seattle. I know it's not RG3, but that's how extreme I'm saying. That's how in I am on Vic that I'll sit Colin Kaepernick. So I'm going Vic 100% this week. He's going to be better than last week.
Another question. We got Jimmy Graham or Jared Cook this weekend. I'm going to go Graham. Tampa Bay gave up 79 yards and a TD last week to Kellen Winslow. So I'm definitely expecting a big game out of Jimmy Graham, kind of bounce back from the 4-catch game he had last weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you again. You can't sit Jimmy Graham. I don't care what the situation is. I'm not sold on Jared Cook. I know a lot of people are sold. You might even be sold on Jared Cook, but maybe not in this situation. It was week 1. You've been waiting for Jared Cook to do something his entire career. Finally, he did something. Again, Jerome Simpson went crazy last week for the Vikings, so I'm not sold on week 1. And I'm very sold on Jimmy Graham.
Getting a lot of questions about Frank Gore this week. People are afraid of this matchup. I'm actually afraid of it too. We have 2 questions here. We got Daryl Richardson or Frank Gore, and then we also have Rashard Mendenhall or Frank Gore, and that's coming from Juan and Logan. This week I'm actually sitting Frank Gore, but luckily in my league he's playing my flex, and I have Julian Edelman, so I'm able to make sure that I have somebody in there to make it happen. I'm staying away from Gore this week. Now Richardson, the only thing I'm worried about with him is that Isaiah Pede is back this week from his suspension, so he could take a few touches away, but Richardson should have some running room against the Falcons. So honestly, Juan and I would go ahead and play Richardson. Logan, Rashard Mendenhall, or Gore. Tough matchups on both sides. I think Gore is going to be your play. What are you thinking, Doug?
Yeah, I completely agree. You got to go Richardson over Gore this week. I don't think Pete's going to be that much of a difference because I watched preseason as well, and I know Jeff Fisher was definitely high on Richardson right now. Stick with Richardson over Gore. Gore versus Mendenhall. I mean, that might be the worst race you could ever see in your life is Gore versus Mendenhall. I'm going to stick with Gore in this case. I don't know, something about Mendenhall. I'm not wild about him. I don't know if it's because I drafted him and kept him on my bench last year thinking he was going to do something eventually. I thought I was the smartest person and it didn't end up. Go with Gore this week.
Final question here. We got a question from Mike. We got Julius Thomas, Jordan Cameron, or Greg Olsen. I don't know how you have all those tight ends on your bench, but we'll go ahead and answer your question here. I think we definitely have a difference of opinion here. I'm going to go with Julius Thomas this week. I just think that Peyton Manning is going to carve up the Giants, similar to what Tony Romo did last week. Jason Witten, 2 touchdowns last week, 8 grabs, 70 yards. I'm going to go with Julius Thomas this week. What do you got, Don?
I think that's about as ridiculous as I think your shirt is. I'm not even going to go near Julius Thomas versus Jordan Cameron. Although I like the color of your shirt, and that's where I'm going. I'm going with the Browns, and I'm going with Jordan Cameron. I had him last week on my team, and I love him. He's a beast. He's all they pretty much have. I know they have a little, and I know they're getting Gordon back soon, but he just gets fed the ball. As far as Thomas, we know nothing about him. I get it that he's supposed to be like another Antonio Gates, but he's really not. That's where Cameron is, because that's where Cameron came from. The same guy who made Gates, the same guy who made Winslow, the same guy who made the other guy, Olsen. Stick with Jordan Cameron. And Peyton's got a lot more options to throw to. And you're going to see him. You're going to see Thomas struggle.
He's got a lot of options, but you got to remember, Brandon Weedens is throwing the ball to Cameron. And it's, in my opinion, he's bottom 3 quarterbacks in the league.
No, I'm not arguing Weeden's ability. I'm arguing about where he's going to throw the ball. And I think he throws it mainly to Cameron. Well, I know the whole love fest Romo has with Witten. I think that's why he overfed him last week. And again, Des Bryant was hurt a little bit. I'm going with Jordan Cameron. He likes Thomas from the Broncos.
Here you go, guys.
Well, yeah, that's what we got for you this week. Let us know. Check us out on Facebook. Remember, all our picks, there's no gray in it. It's just black and white. See you next week.